Welcome back to Music Is It Good Though? The best show on the internet that's hosted by the two of us, and we listen to music on a weekly basis, sometimes old, sometimes new. My name is and I'm here with my co-host
Baz.
This week, we've been listening to the alleged best album of 1994, according to RateYourMusic.com, which is an album by Nas called...
Illmatic.
Any preconceptions of Nas?
I've only ever heard two songs... Well, I think I've only ever heard two songs by him, which is one off this album, New York State of Mind, and The Don, which is off one of his later albums. Okay. I don't know where I've heard them, but I've heard them.
Okay.
How about you?
I know that he's one of those rappers that are considered the best.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd heard anything by him, but I did recognise one of the songs on this.
Which one?
Life's a Bitch. Beyond that, I'm assuming Lil Nas X sort of named himself after Nas to a degree.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, he's got to be pretty influential because I've heard a few songs by Lil Nas X and I quite like them. So I thought, this Nas guy must be pretty good then.
Well, I've been reading up on it. Apparently, as soon as it was released, it was deemed a classic.
All right.
Like, I can't remember the name of the magazine or publication, but apparently they gave it the first ever and only 5 out of 5 microphones rating. Even though at the beginning of their publication, they said that they'd never give it to anyone. And they were like, oh, there can't be anything perfect. And then this came out, and it's apparently perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. I've also watched Anthony Fantano's review of this, just to try and get some of the ideas of why it's good.
You fan over Anthony Fantano as much as Phoebe Bridgers, and it's weird.
I know. But just because I don't really know hip-hop, so... I don't know what I'm looking for, and I still kind of don't. Because they go on about, like, flows and... I guess lyricism I get. But, like, the flows, the beats... Don't really know how to differentiate sometimes between, like, the different rappers.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you? Like, are you geared up in hip-hop and stuff, or...?
I mean, not necessarily, like, it's not one of my strongest genres, definitely. I do understand those terms that you've just mentioned, because one of the things that I thought when listening to this is that he sounds very natural rapping. Sometimes some of the stuff that I've heard can sound quite forced. Sometimes, I guess, for dramatic effect, if you think of things like Wu-Tang, or if you think of NWA, like, they are kind of aggressively shout rapping.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, it seems to just be very natural. It sounds like he's putting no effort into it, but not to say that it sounds lazy. It just sounds like it's easy for him.
Yeah.
So what did you make of the album?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think this is the first one of these albums of the year ones that I've actually thought, well, this isn't absolute garbage.
I don't think that's true. What else? We definitely had one where you enjoyed it. What did we do last time? Wu-Tang?
Was that Wu-Tang?
Yeah. It was...
Right. Yeah, 36 Chambers.
36 Chambers, yeah.
Tell a lie then.
Yeah.
Well, this is the second one in the run then that's actually not been garbage.
It's occurred to me, just before we continue, that it's got quite dark in here, and I broke the thing to connect the light, so I'm going to turn your light on. It might not make any difference, but you might be able to marginally see us a little bit better now.
Yeah, energy saving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it. Like you say, I don't think I'd heard the actual songs, but when you mentioned Life's a Bitch, like that refrain of Life's a Bitch and then you die...
It's why we get high.
I have heard that somewhere, so I don't know if someone sampled it or if I've heard this on like a soundtrack to something.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there was one song on this album that wasn't good. Like, they all had like... I don't normally associate hooks with rap music, but this did have hooks.
Yeah, I mean, there are hooks in a lot of rap music, but I get what you mean. There's like lots of catchy bits track to track on this, aren't there?
Yeah, and like the beginning of the album, like when I've read up on it, and it's like, this is the sound of the neighbourhoods where Nas grew up, and it's like is it like the railway or something going by, and then the instrumental at the beginning of the Genesis, like that to me just is like a defining sound of 90s hip hop. Like in terms of the horns and
Yeah.
stuff.
It's a very, I guess, time capsuled era of hip hop, isn't it? Because I've said this before when we reviewed hip hop on here. I think modern day hip hop is very boring to me.
Yeah, it's too electronic, isn't it?
It's electronic, it's synthy, it's mumble rap. I think is just. I've not heard any mumble rap that I enjoy.
I don't know if I've ever even heard mumble rap. What did you think about it?
I enjoyed it. It didn't knock my socks off. Like, it's been a good few weeks between us recording an episode best of the year and this one, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's one where the first few times where I listened to it, I quite enjoyed it. But then when it's been, okay, we'll plan to do it next week, and then like things happen, and then like we can't do it this week, we'll do it the week after. It's like, oh, I need to listen to it again. Then I need to keep it familiar, and it. Maybe it's my own fault for listening to it too much because it has been quite a long time since we recorded. But it became a bit of a chore album the more I listened to it.
Yeah, it's not an easy listen, I would say, because like some of the instrumental is quite spiky and rough. Like, it's quite well produced considering it was his first album, so I'm assuming the budget wasn't really there. But yeah, like New York State of Mind, is it? That it's just like a, I don't know how you say it, it's like quite a sparse sound. It's quite a rough sound, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of raw.
That goes along with the street vibe
Yeah.
that the album's aiming for.
Yeah. Top 3 tracks?
Memory Lane.
That's on there for me as well, Memory Lane.
Life's a Bitch and New York State of Mind, just because I knew that song anyway.
Yeah. For me, Memory Lane, Life's a Bitch, and One Time for Your Mind. I quite like that one. Although the first few times I listened to it, because I just have it playing straight through on my phone, which is kind of on standby with my headphones on, and I don't necessarily see the track names. First few times I thought it was saying One Time for Your Mum.
I wish it was. Anything you didn't like on there?
No, there was nothing that was bad, definitely. No, there wasn't really anything that stood out as even kind of half-assed or anything. Everything was consistent.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to be a bit biased by the fact that I've listened to it too many times over too long of a time, in that it's become, I'm trying to think of it as the first few times I listened to this, because you listen to anything too much and it's going to be like, oh God, this again. So the first few times I listened to it, definitely, yeah, it was really good. It was fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Any songs that you didn't like?
Not that I didn't like, but I didn't like it in One Love, where it was like, one love, one love, one love. It's like, shut up.
Whacking a number on it?
8.
8.
How about you?
I think, trying to be fair, I would go for a 7. Because I did enjoy it the first few times. It's probably come across a little bit that I'm like, oh God, this album, it's rubbish. And it's not a rubbish album by any means. It's a really good album. He's got like a very natural rhythm and flow while he's rapping. The lyrics are interesting, the music's interesting. So I did enjoy it. I couldn't give it higher than that because am I going to listen to it again? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe give it some time and I might want to listen to a couple of songs on this again. But it's not won me over like some other hip-hop albums. There's been a couple like To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar, Because the Internet by Childish Gambino. Some hip-hop albums that have been like, okay, this is different. This is really hooking me in. This didn't necessarily do that. I enjoyed it, but it's not like, wow, I need to go and listen to more Nas now.
No, to be fair, it's not done that for me. Well, I'm not going to go back and listen to this album, but I can appreciate why it's considered a classic, and like I say, for once, one of the albums of the year. Probably was.
For twice.
Yeah. For thrice next.
Possibly. So that will bring us to an average of 7.5, which means that this time music is good, so you can put your books away, you can put your clothes away and listen to music in the nude and enjoy it.
An odd image.
Next time, we don't know when this is coming out, so we don't know when the next one will be coming out in the best of the year, but for 1995, staying pretty on brand with the past 2 years is GZA.
Really?
Yeah.
That was big.
Yeah, I can't remember what the album's called, but yeah, it's GZA next time. So keep an eye out for that one. It will be coming one day. And in the meantime, stay fresh and funky, so fresh and so clean, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Bye-bye.
See you on the B side. Fuck, got it wrong.